Here we are for this very special encounter at the Bon Open between Jeffrey Blancano against Damir the Demon Jumur. He's very much demonized thus far, showing a bit of frustration after losing the first set. Anyway, the Frenchman to serve, 15-30. Bit of pressure on that Frenchman's shoulders, like a couple of baguettes weighing over him. Needs to take some time. No hurry, he says, at 15-30. He's up a set, 2-all here. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go there down the middle, and that is a shank. One that even Stefanos Tsitsipas would be proud of. Get that towel, mop your brow, return to the baseline where you'll know it's 30-all. Screeches from the other courts. But they don't put this young Frenchman off. Look at him, prowling, brushing, questioning. Maybe they do put him off. He needs to be focused. It's 30-all, 2-all, tens times here at the Bon Open. Goes out wide with that, comes into the net, does the volley. Does he put it away? No, he doesn't. But he puts that one away, and his opponent, the demon, Damir Jumur, just cannot believe what has happened to him. I'll tell you what's happened. You've been flummoxed, and you've lost the point. We would take another look at it if we had a replay, but we don't. But who knows? You don't even need a replay. It's in our heads. Okay. The Frenchman to serve. I say you're going out wide. You don't. You go down the tee. Clip the net, though. So he's going to get another shot at it. Is he going to take my advice and go out wide on this one? Did so successfully on that last time for a serve and volley, even though he'd messed up the volley. Goes down the tee again, does come into the net, does a little drop shot, and you know what? Jumur is like, I can't even be bothered to run that down. And he's going to clean that line. Look at this, he's cleaning the line because he's so annoyed with some funny bounces.
Ready? Play.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. You've been to the French Open final. Your breakthrough, at least standout result at the beginning of your career, was on grass against Venus. You've been very solid on the hard courts. Is there a slam in particular that you go, I think that's, if I'm going to get one, the first one might come here, there, or where?
Well, I don't know. I mean, everyone, I'm like, I think this is the first one. So I don't know. I mean, obviously now going to the French, I do have a lot of confidence on this surface. But I'm not really thinking about that. I feel like, you know, in the past I was, and it gave me some like defeats that I feel like I shouldn't have lost, maybe more so my head. So going in now, I mean, I feel like, everyone could be the one, but I think I have to just take it a match at a time and just feel it out and enjoy it. I think when you focus too much on the destination, you don't enjoy the journey there. So now I want to focus more on the journey, and if the destination gets there, that's great.
Ready? Play.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Here we are for this very special encounter at the Bonn Open between Jeffrey Blancano against Damir the Demon Jumur. He's very much demonized thus far, showing a bit of frustration after losing the first set. Anyway, the Frenchman to serve 15-30. Bit of pressure on that Frenchman's shoulders, like a couple of baguettes weighing over him. Needs to take some time. No hurry, he says, at 15-30. He's up a set, 2-all here. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go there down the middle, and that is a shank. One that even Stefanos Tsitsipas would be proud of. Get that towel, mop your brow, return to the baseline where you'll know it's 30-all. Screeches from the other courts. But they don't put this young Frenchman off. Look at him, prowling, brushing, questioning. Maybe they do put him off. He needs to be focused. It's 30-all, 2-all, tens times here at the Bonn Open. Goes out wide with that, comes into the net, does the volley. Does he put it away? No, he doesn't. But he puts that one away, and his opponent, the demon, Damir Jumur, just cannot believe what has happened to him. I'll tell you what's happened. You've been flummoxed, and you've lost the point. We would take another look at it if we had a replay, but we don't. But who knows? You don't even need a replay. It's in our heads. Okay. The Frenchman to serve. I say you're going out wide. You don't. You go down the tee. Clip the net, though. So he's going to get another shot at it. Is he going to take my advice and go out wide on this one? Did so successfully on that last time for a serve and volley, even though he'd messed up the volley. Goes down the tee again. Does come into the net. Does a little drop shot, and you know what? Jamur is like, I can't even be bothered to run that down. And he's going to clean that line. Look at this. He's cleaning the line because he's so annoyed with some funny bounces.
Just one in English. The draw for the French Open was made today. You're going to be playing Kalinskaya.
Oh. I just said I don't want to know.
Ready? Play.
Hello, everybody out there in the digital tennis universe. My name is Miles David, and we are here to watch live action of the 2024 National Bank Open in Toronto, Canada. The final today on a Monday, which is a rarity in tennis, but because of the Olympics, it's happening. Like I said, on a Monday, and it is going to be competed between the number 3 seed of the tournament, Jessica Pegula, American, versus fellow American, Amanda Anisimova. And I am glad to be here with you guys as I watch along for this, what on paper could be a very entertaining matchup as well as a meaningful matchup, but depending on who lifts the trophy. So I'm happy to walk through this and watch the live action with you guys. If you are seeing my face for the first time on Talking Tennis, again, my name is Miles David. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. That definitely helps build our reach as a channel. Also, while you're subscribing to Talking Tennis, do me a favor as well and go over to the Tuned Into Tennis YouTube channel, where we do collaborations very, very often and talk about this wonderful world of tennis as colorfully and as fun as we can make it. So I'm seeing you guys in the comments here. Hey, Jake. Hey, Ozan. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Terry. Thank you guys for popping on and watching the lead up of this match with me. It looks like the women have gotten started. We're early on in the very first game. Anisimova is serving. During my intro right there, I missed the first 2 points of the match, but I won't miss another one. I won't miss another one. I promise you that. Anisimova is in a small hole in this opening service game. She's down love 30, and we're putting in a second serve. This is Anisimova's, just in case you're watching this and you're like, I think I've heard of Anisimova, I'm not 100% sure. You probably have, because she's been a touring professional on the WTA Tour for quite some time, and she's only 22. I remember hearing a splash about her as early as 2018 when she was a teenager. And this is, I believe, her 4th title on the WTA Tour, or excuse me, her 4th final on the WTA Tour, and her first, she'll be going for her first WTA Tour title since 2022. So it's been a while since she's been in the trophy stages of tournaments, let alone tournaments this big, because Toronto is a WTA 1000. So this is potentially going to be the biggest title of her career. And as for Pegula, as Anisimova levels it back to 30 all in this first service game. As for Pegula, she's actually the defending champion. She won the National Bank Open in Canada when it was in its Montreal location just last year. So on the line for her is a chance to defend her title and also win back-to-back Canada Open titles for the first time since Martina Hingis did it in 99 and 2000, which is a little bit of a interesting title defense, or it would be, because you're doing it for the same tournament but in two different locations. Last year she was in Montreal playing the National Bank Open, and this year she's in Toronto. I'm sure most of you know this, but if you don't know, the tournament alternates locations in WTA and ATP Tour so that effectively everybody in Canada gets a piece of the pie. So it's pretty cool. Pegula has a break point here in the opening game, and with the cross-court backhand that goes wide, she gets it, and she opens this match up with a break. Pegula hasn't, piece of the pie, Pegula hasn't dropped a set all tournament long to get to this final. She's taken out some, I wouldn't necessarily say established or high names, but her semifinal opponent in the semifinal was Diana Schneider, who's having a great up-and-coming season as, I believe, either a late teen or early 20-year-old. I believe she's the same age as Coco Gauff, so that would make her 20, Diana Schneider. But Pegula put her aside in a windy semifinal, and Anisimova has dropped only one set en route to the final, and that was also in her semifinal where she beat Emma Navarro. Along the way, Anisimova took out world number 2, Aryna Sabalenka, and she holds a very interesting head-to-head over Sabalenka currently. And yeah, the last time these two met actually was just earlier this year on the green clay in Charleston. And if I am correct, I want to say that Jessica Pegula actually toughed out that match in three sets, and it was 7-6 in the third. In Charleston this year in the green clay, Pegula beat Anisimova 3-6, 6-4, 7-6, coming from a set down. So they've only played one other time, but that one included a tough set back in 2020 when everybody was playing in the New York bubble in the Cincinnati tournament. Gosh, I was watching, this is tangential, but I was watching some footage of the 2020/2021 Tokyo Olympics, and we are, I think today is what is today? The 12th, I think? Yeah, so we are 24 hours away from the last day of the Olympics, and my gosh, this was just the gymnastics portion I was watching, not the tennis, but just I can't think of a different sight besides seeing a full crowd of people in Paris and just a dystopian level crowd of nothingness in Tokyo. So yeah, that was quite the difference, and I'm glad that we have worked our way out of a pandemic, because tough scenes, and it's just so interesting to kind of look back at how the world was trying to continue to run amidst the pandemic. But we're out of that now, and Pegula is out of her first service game. She holds 40 love and is off to a strong start in this final in Canada. If you guys are enjoying what you're watching, please feel free to subscribe as we watch. If you aren't already, you can see that number below me go up. If you are a fresh subscriber, you will be 900-631. So if you want to be in that number, please feel free to subscribe. Let's see. I'm interested. I'm sure there is a poll in our YouTube somewhere. I'm interested from you guys. Who do you think is more likely to win this match, Pegula or Anisimova? I personally think it's 60-40, 60% Pegula, primarily because of the head-to-head, although the matches have been tough. I just think that Pegula is the kind of player that is the ice to a red-hot Anisimova. I was actually quite shocked that Emma Navarro wasn't that ice for Anisimova's hot run over this past week. But it was a tough match over 3 sets. But Anisimova is the kind of player that if her ground strokes and serve are working, it doesn't really take it doesn't seemingly look like it takes much effort for her to win points. She has that kind of easy, clean power off of both wings, and her serve can be a weapon if she's timing it right and getting a high first serve percentage in. But to counteract that, Pegula absorbs so very well and stays low to the ground. She has short takebacks, obviously likes the atmosphere in Canada. I was actually listening to a podcast on my way back home from a fun time in New Orleans. If you guys are listening and in between what do you call it? In between sit downs, in between changeovers, if you guys would like to hear small bits and pieces of my weekend in New Orleans, that included a charity run featuring red dresses, aka called the Red Dress Run in New Orleans, feel free to ask me. I'll be glad to tell you all about it. Anisimova had 2 game points, lets one of them go with a double fault, has one more here. Is she challenging that? No, it doesn't look like she's challenging it, but she has a game point here to finally get on the board. Yes, a charity run in New Orleans featuring red dresses. I'll tell you guys more about it as the match unfolds. But what I was saying about Jessica Pegula, she likes the conditions here in Canada. She has been to the semifinals or better for 3 straight years. She was a semifinalist in Toronto in 2022, losing to eventual champion Simona Halep. If you haven't heard that name in a while, then it's because she hasn't really been on tour. That's another story. And then in 2023, she won in Montreal. And then now we are in 2024 and she's back in the final. So there's obviously something that she likes about the environment in both cities, and in particular Toronto, because if you guys do not know or unaware, Jessica Pegula, I think she was born in Buffalo, New York, which is very, very close to the edge or border of Canada in North America. So it's in Buffalo, New York, but it's maybe an hour or 2 away or across the border from Canada and into Toronto. So I think a lot of people who are either Buffalo Bills fans or just simply Jessica Pegula fans and fans of tennis kind of know that she's close to her hometown. So she said in different interviews that it kind of feels like a hometown tournament for her. So that's pretty cool, and explains why she's only lost 1 match over the past 3 years here in Canada. So yeah, evidently there's some vibes that she likes. Oh, we have a change over here. It's perfect time for me to segue into my fun weekend in New Orleans. So in New Orleans, which is where I live, like maybe 30 minutes away from downtown, but every August there is a charity whose name I am unfortunately forgetting right now. But if you type in Red Dress Run New Orleans, all the information will come up. But they specifically have a charity, and part of one of the ways they raise money for the charity in New Orleans is to host an annual Red Dress Run, and everyone that participates in the run wears red dresses. The fun part about it is that not only do you run, or the people that are runners run around the city in efforts to because you have to register and do all that kind of stuff and pay to do it, but not only do the runners wear red dresses, the people that are there to support the runners wear red dresses, and it just kind of becomes a fun downtown French Quarter vibe. And that's what I was out doing with my weekend on Saturday and into Sunday. So yeah, there's more stories, because it was my first time doing that. But yeah, let's tune back into the match really quickly as Pegula opens up with a point on her serve. She's up 2-1. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Oh, these are some interesting pictures through the years of the Red Dress Run in New Orleans. Yeah, men, women, everybody in between throws on a red dress to their liking and parades around the streets of New Orleans in support of this charity, and honestly just support of a good time in New Orleans. And the drinks are flowing, the food is good, and everyone's having a good time. Unlike Buffalo, I'm sure Buffalo is a great city, but Terry Swarna has just said it's a very sad city during the winter, which I have never been, but I can only imagine. I've seen different NFL games being played in Buffalo, I think, and the conditions look terrible. So yeah, wouldn't want to be playing football or tennis there anytime soon, especially in the winter. Pegula has held and secured her break lead, going up 3-1 in this first set. Things seem to be going mostly her way. If you're tuned in for like a point by point kind of playback of this match, I'll do that as it gets to more crucial moments. But as for now, the match is at a pace to where Pegula's putting the ball in play and Anisimova is making the more frequent than not error. That explains why she's down 1-3 in 12 minutes. So it's kind of playing out how I thought it would play out so far. Not that Anisimova, and I don't say any of that to discourage Anisimova or to downplay how good her tennis has been over this week in Toronto, but I did fear about this in the matchup. I think she'd have to play, she still can, but I think she has to play really, really, really clean tennis to get through Pegula, and so far it hasn't been her cleanest tennis, especially with that backhand error from the middle of the court that she just gave to Pegula. So Pegula's up 15-love in Anisimova's service game, and now love 30 with a great angled backhand return. So Pegula's sharp so far. She's doing just enough to bother Anisimova, get her on the run, get some cheap errors, and Anisimova is unfortunately making those errors for Pegula. So if she's going to have to hold and make this close, she's going to have to come back from a love 30 hold. Am I behind? Oh, yes, I'm totally behind. Yes, let me refresh my feed because what's on the screen and what I'm showing is just a little bit behind. Let's fix that. Yes. Alrighty. We're at 30-all for Anisimova. So she stopped a little bit of the bleeding. Let's see what happens here. I think this might be I think this is a big point in the match so far. The winner of it is either going to have a break point in Pegula to go up 4-1, or Anisimova is going to still keep her foot in this first set and be just down 1 break instead of 2. The point at 30-all almost goes to Anisimova as she tries to pass Pegula with the backhand down the line, just wide. Pegula is able to sneak out a break point, but doesn't capitalize, and now we're at deuce. Small plug, by the way, if you guys aren't aware of how to watch women's tennis, I am a huge fan of women's tennis, as most of you guys know in the chat. If you don't know, women's tennis is what got me into tennis full stop. Actually, today is a very important day. I did some research earlier that August 12th was the first tennis match that I watched on ESPN2 with very full clarity. Not so much as clarity as to what was going on and how scoring was going, but I vividly remember that match getting my attention for entertainment purposes on August 12th, 2016, 18 years ago. So I think I'll make a post about that on my socials because it means a little something. Anisimova was able to hold, by the way. Great hold for her. She keeps just a foot distance between her and Pegula in this first set. She is still down 1 break, 2-3 in this first set. Looking at the votes here, it looks like 56% of you are thinking that Pegula is going to win this Toronto final, which actually, yeah, that is in keeping with the 60-40 that I said earlier. About 60% Pegula, about 40% Anisimova. And so far, it seems like it's going to be that kind of margin that separates the two, but there's plenty of match and tennis to be played, so we shall see what happens. Flying Yogi in the chat. I'm just seeing this comment, Flying Yogi. They say Jimmy Arias is from Buffalo too. I don't think I knew that. And he's the founder of the modern forehand. So those are two things you're going to have to put in the Jimmy Arias trivia card. because I didn't know he was from Buffalo, and I didn't know he was credited as the founder of the modern forehand. I'd love some backstory on that. Flying Yogi. We got some news here from the next U.S. Open warm-up tournament in Cincinnati that unfortunately Ons Jabeur, three-time Grand Slam finalist, will be pulling out. She says, I regret to inform you that due to an aggravated shoulder injury, I will be unable to participate at the Cincinnati Open this year. Despite my best efforts to recover in time, playing in Toronto did not help. My current condition does not allow me to compete at the level required. Can't say that I sit here with jaw agape and shocked. Ons Jabeur has had a tough go of it for quite a couple of months, and she's been pretty open about the fact that she's been dealing with small but frustrating injuries for most of the season, which led her to pull out of the Olympics to be able to kind of save her body from going from grass at Wimbledon back to clay at Roland Garros during the Olympics and now on hard. Can't say I blame her for that, but I also, at this point, would not be surprised if she takes a extended break instead of kind of, taking it week by week. I think an extended break will be better for her body. Speaking of extended breaks, I know at the very top of this, I kind of briefly mentioned that Anisimova might be a name you know or have heard of at one time, but hasn't really been in the forefront of women's tennis. And that's because the former, I think her career high is 21. Anisimova took a very voluntary break from tennis. Famously, she was, very highly regarded as a top junior in American tennis for her wonderful ball striking and heavy hitting. But I believe in 2020 or somewhere thereabouts, she unfortunately lost her father, who was also her coach. So that kind of, as you can imagine, had its effect and derailed her a little bit. But her results really hadn't been great post that unfortunate news, and she took a break from tennis. I believe she tried a semester at a local university around her in the States. So I think she just found some time to appreciate tennis away from the tennis court. I was listening to a podcast. If you're a podcast listener, I would suggest the Tennis Canada podcast. I think it's just called Tennis Canada. Oh, no. It's called Match Point Canada. And it's hosted by Ben and Mike McIntyre. And they're really cool people. They've had some interviews this week, one of which is with Amanda Anisimova after she won her quarterfinal, and she mentioned the break that she took, how it helped her kind of formulate a better perspective around tennis. So that was a great listen, and I'm proud of Anisimova for kind of prioritizing her mental health. Although she's down in this match, I still think even if she loses this set, ultimately the match, I think she's good for women's tennis. Her story is one a lot of people may be able to relate to. Her game is a personal game style of mine that I find that I find wonderful to watch. And yeah, I think she's good to get back up into the mainstay of women's tennis. With a win here, she will get back inside the top 40. I think not necessarily like a seeded position at the US Open, but maybe 35, 36, somewhere about that, which is great because she was outside the top 100 before this week started. And Pegula, I'm not sure about ranking changes because she's already, I'm pretty sure, a top 5 or 6 player, but she will be the first player, Pegula, if she wins this tournament, to win back-to-back Canada titles since Martina Hingis. So that's some pretty good history and name recognition to be next to. So yeah, some good things on the line here in Canada. Let's see. You guys are following the score here. Anisimova has a game point to keep within touch of Pegula and go up 3-4, which she does. I think that's good for Anisimova. Actually great, because I was a little scared there that Pegula might run away with this set, especially if Anisimova kept kind of leaking errors here and there, but she's tightened up just that fraction more and hasn't let Pegula run away with it. So I think we are buckled in for a pretty fair final. There hasn't been anything super amazing shot making wise, just some pretty, good, solid ground stroke exchanges, most of which are being won by the sword, die by the sword with Anisimova. But hey, that's the style of game she plays. I'm not mad at it. Swarna's in the comments telling us more information about the upcoming tournament that actually, I believe, got underway today, Monday, August 12th. I think there were a couple of main draw men's matches, and one of those was Tommy Paul of USA versus Flavio Caboli, and Flavio Caboli got the upset over Tommy Paul, and that kind of felt like when I was reading the scores, like Tommy Paul was out of the tournament before it even starts. But the women's qualification finished up today. Outside of Collins being out of Cincy due to an injury, one of the major headlines coming into Cincy was the fact that Naomi Osaka, four-time Grand Slam champion, wasn't given a wild card. Not sure what the reason was behind that. She's not a former champion, but I think she is a former finalist. She wasn't given a wild card, and she had to play qualifying. She won a round and ultimately lost the second and final round today against Ashlyn Kruger. So that's one of the big headline news breaking or newsworthy moments is Osaka won't be playing or competing in the main draw unless there is a spot that opens up for a lucky loser, but I'm not quite sure she would be first in line for that. I haven't looked at the rest of the rankings, so we'll have to see. We will definitely have to see how that goes. And Ashlyn Kruger, by the way, is no scrub. She won her first WTA Tour title in Osaka, Japan, at 250. I remember late last year, post US Open, and she's been coming on pretty good. Who did Ashlyn Kruger beat last week? I think she may have made it like a round or two deep in Washington, D.C. But nevertheless, she's been a name that I've kind of just been, circling. She's in that Coco Gauff age range, not necessarily the phenom that Coco Gauff is, but definitely her peer in that 19-20 age range, and could be a name that that goes on to accomplish some good things in tennis, as is Pegula currently, as she goes up 5-3 in this first set. Anisimova will be serving to stay in it. Pegula's service games have been have been mighty uneventful. Her first serve won percentage is 100%. Every time she's got a first serve in, she's winning the point, and that is why she's up 5-3 in this match pretty comfortably. So I think this is a good level from Pegula. I have to say that I haven't been very inspired or motivated to watch a lot of Pegula matches this year. Firstly, because she is one of those players that plays every week pretty much, except this year she's had some injury issues. I believe she withdrew from the French at Roland Garros altogether due to some slight injury issues. She did play the Olympics though and played Wimbledon, but her results have been, for her standards, pretty subpar. There was a good week she put together in Berlin just ahead of Wimbledon. Who did she beat in the final? I think she beat Kalinskaya in a pretty good 3-set final in Berlin. But all the momentum that she had from that week was kind of doused, I believe, in the second round by Wang Jingyu of China. So anytime that she's kind of been getting momentum, or the times you thought that she would kind of turn her season around and be that consistent top 5 player as far as results wise, it hasn't happened for her. But maybe this is a point in the season where she turns the corner. I think she likes hard courts. She clearly likes it in Canada. So this could be a sign of something to come. But as tuned into tennis as I am, I don't necessarily think that this equates to Pegula being a favorite at this year's US Open. Because let's be honest, as she has 2 break points and set points here to put away this opening set, these tournaments, although like for the individuality of the tournaments, Canada then in Cincinnati later on this week, they're huge for anybody to win, but they're mainly there to warm us up and lead us into the final major of the year in New York at the US Open. And people are trying to get a gauge on, you know, especially if you're a bettor or if you're somebody that kind of is interested in making draws and seeing how correct you can be with every pick. You're looking at these tournaments to see who's going to go deep at the US Open. And Pegula is one of those players that at the WTA 1000 level and even the 500 level, she's proven to be very consistent over the past 3 years or so. And she's consistent in this first set, by the way. She takes it 6-3 as she breaks Anisimova once again to take out the first set. So she's in the driver's seat pretty comfortably to take her second Canadian Open title. Pegula is. But I have to say that, I mean, history shows that Pegula has not necessarily taken these 1,500 wins into magnificent runs at slams. Her ceiling has been consistently a quarterfinal for about 3 consecutive seasons now. I think her first breakthrough was 2021. She made a Grand Slam quarterfinal, and she hasn't been past that since. A really, really good run to get there, but I can't say that I am convinced that even if she lifts the trophy here in Canada, that she will be somehow lifting the US Open trophy. I'd actually be quite surprised if that happens, just because history tells me otherwise. But that's not to negate the fact that she's a darn good tennis player. Maybe not my cup of tea. Like, I don't wake up in the morning and think, ooh, Jessica Pegula is playing tennis. Let me go check that out. That's not what I do. Some people do it. Not me, but she's still a really darn good tennis player. Jake, thank you for the compliment. Jake says, Miles, you're great going solo on the stream. Absolutely great. Thank you, Jake. I really, really appreciate that. I try my best. Yeah, Jake, I think that'll always be the case. I mean, we could be eating our words in about 3 weeks when Pegula is lifting the title. 3 to 4 weeks? Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks when Pegula is lifting the title at New York in the middle of Arthur Ashe Stadium. I don't know if that seems so unrealistic given how deep the WTA field is and how, for lack of a better term that's coming to my mind, odd the US Open results have been. Like, don't get me wrong, just last year, 2023 US Open, was thrilled that Coco Gauff won. She was a top 5 seed. Like, it was kind of building for her. She'd already been to a Grand Slam final, so it wasn't random. But go back to 2022, Iga Swiatek wins the US Open, which again, world number one seed, but in the whole context of things, that US Open, as we stand right now, is a little bit of an outlier because she's been so dominant at the French Open that the US Open obviously wasn't a fluke, but a little bit of a standout result that in the entire context of Iga Swiatek's career, I wouldn't be surprised if that is like an outlier in her career. And then going beyond that, Emma Raducanu, 2021, completely out of nowhere. 2020, Osaka wins it for the second time. But 2019, Bianca Andreescu wins it after playing it for the very first time in her career. So the US Open results, outside of maybe a couple of big names that maybe were favored on paper to win, the US Open has been one of the more open Grand Slams. So with that being said, I can't necessarily just pencil in Pegula because of consistency and a potential Canada Open title, but we will see. We will see. We will see. It'll be interesting to see if Amanda Anisimova can say something or kind of tighten up her game a little bit more in the second set. Let me know what you guys think about the second set. It's just getting underway. Pegula is up 30-love in her service games. Again, pretty uneventful when she gets that first serve in. It's not necessarily the world's hardest serve, but it's effective and it's given Anisimova all kind of headaches today. But let's see if Anisimova can work her way through that and try to really make this a match. Swarna is asking, who lifts the US Open this year, Miles? As I was saying, I honestly have no idea. Like, actually, let's go. Let me pull up this screenshot. I think I took a picture of Tennis Channel's FanDuel desk. Or just FanDuel. Yeah, FanDuel's odds to win the US Open. Let's look at the top 10 most likely to win the US Open. Before we do that, I do agree, Jake. Anisimova does look a little bit physically compromised. And she actually mentioned that, if I rewind back to the conversation I was having a little bit earlier, in the interview I listened that she did with Match Point Canada, the podcast, she mentioned that she was very happy over the past couple of weeks with how her body's holding up, especially after she did qualies in Washington, D.C., and then came here to Toronto. She did even get a retirement against Kalinskaya, I believe, in the quarterfinal stage or thereabouts, or maybe the round of 16. She did get a second set retirement from Kalinskaya, but that's taken into account. After that, she goes on to beat Sabalenka and Emma Navarro in a 3-set match. So maybe, she's pretty low on energetic reserves. And when you're facing Jessica Pegula, who's winning 100% of her first serves and not giving you much to work with, it can definitely deplete your energy pretty quick. So yeah, she does look a little rough out there, but hopefully, she finds a way to get it together and gives us a better match. Fingers crossed. Yeah, as far as the US Open goes, while we are in the middle of Anisimova's first service game of the second set, let's go over the odds to win the US Open. This is by FanDuel, okay? So first we have world number 1, Iga Swiatek. Then we have Aryna Sabalenka, Coco Gauff, Elena Rybakina, Naomi Osaka, Jessica Pegula, Donna Vekic, Mira Andreeva, Danielle Collins, and Ons Jabeur. That was as of, I think that was actually this week. When did I take this picture? Hold on. I took this picture Wednesday. So yeah, this was during this tournament. FanDuel, I guess there are odds makers and do a lot of betting. They're putting Danielle Collins and Ons Jabeur, who just withdrew from Cincinnati, in the top 10 to win the U.S. Open. Keep in mind, this is going to be Danielle Collins' last U.S. Open, by the way, because she has announced a retirement. So that's interesting. Not so sure I'd put Mira Andreeva in the mix, and unfortunately, not so sure I'd put Osaka in the mix. Obviously, she's a 2-time champ there, from world number 1. I just don't know if she has the consistency to put together 7 matches in a row, because she hasn't done it. I don't think she's won 6 matches in a row. So that would be a dream. That would be a dream run, obviously, but not realistic. I think the more realistic people I say realistic, but if I wanted to be safe, I would imagine that Iga Swiatek is a good pick. Sabalenka's been to the final just last year, but she's coming off injuries. I guess that's a safe pick. Coco Gauff is defending champion, but she lost early in the Olympics and early in Toronto. Rybakina. Has anybody heard from Rybakina lately? Like, I don't know. Obviously, she's a darn good tennis player, but is she playing the U.S. hard court swing? I know she pulled out of the Olympics. I don't remember seeing an announcement that she pulled out of Toronto, and I don't know if she's in the Cincinnati draw. So if you know where Elena Rybakina is, please reach out and call the hotline here at Talking Tennis, because I'd love to know what she's been up to. Let's see. Nerlin asked, hi Nerlin. Nerlin asked, first Nerlin said that Lulu's son will win the U.S. Open. Fun fact about about Lulu's son. Lulu's son was a surprise quarterfinalist at Wimbledon this year, taking out Emma Raducanu in rout. She has only played 3 matches since. She played 1 match at the Olympics representing, I think Lulu's son is Switzerland born, but plays for New Zealand. Yes, I think she represented New Zealand at the Olympics. She did not get a win, but she did go to qualifying in Cincy this week, and she picked up her first 2 wins since getting to the qualifying at Wimbledon. So, hey, if you think she can do more damage on the hard courts of New York or thereabouts, then sure. But as far as who's more talented, Nerlin, Lulu's son or Diana Schneider, who made the semifinals this week in Cincinnati, Diana Schneider did, I think I'd have to go with Diana, just because her body of work infers that a lot more than Lulu's son. Lulu's son had a great week and a half at Wimbledon. I think she qualified. I'm not sure if she qualified. So maybe 2 full weeks in her match record at Wimbledon, whereas Diana Schneider has won 3 WTA tour level titles this season. And on all three surfaces, one on hard courts in Thailand, one in clay in Budapest, and one in grass in Germany. So, and she's made a semifinal over 1,000 for the first time this week. So I think as it stands right now, the more talented and just better results wise is Diana Schneider. But both of them are fairly young, so we'll see what happens in their careers. And I do love the fact that they're two WTA lefties. As one lefty goes into the sunset, a la Angelique Kerber, we get more coming up in the crop in Lulu Sun and Diana Schneider. So all for the lefties. And I think we're losing Kvitova. She hasn't officially announced her retirement, but she did just give birth to her first child. So it remains to be seen if she's going to be coming back from injury or not. I mean, injury. Why did I say that? From maternity leave, not injury. Something interesting is happening in this match. Anisimova has made some inroads on Pegula's serve and has 2 break points to go up a break of serve 2-1 in this second set, and maybe make more of a match out of it. There we go. Pegula saves off 1 break point. Jake is asking, who's coaching Pegula these days? I know it's not David Witt. She broke up with David Witt earlier in the season. I want to say post Australia. And I've heard that she did some coaching or maybe did a trial with Mark Knowles, who was a former doubles specialist in world number 1, once won a bunch of Grand Slams in doubles. I didn't get a chance to ask Mark Knowles this when he was in Dallas for the ATP 250 tournament in Dallas that I went to earlier this year, because I only saw him from a distance. I didn't get a chance to speak with him, and I wasn't 100% sure that it was him until I confirmed. I think he posted something on social or something, but it did look like him, and in fact was him. If I had been closer, I probably would have engaged in conversation and kind of maybe I would have asked that. Who knows? But I'm not sure if he's still coaching her or what her coaching setup is. And her former coach, David Witt, is now coaching Frances Tiafoe, and they just started this summer too. So a lot of coaching carousel things happening on the ATP and WTA tours. Anisimova was able to break in a really, really, really good rally. She clenches her fist, and off we go into this second set with Anisimova now holding a break advantage. The crowd is giving her a nice little pump up there. Looks like she's really, really putting in I don't want to say one last final show, but her head is in her hand. Her head is in her hands and her towel now, trying to find a second win. So let's see what happens as she gets this this break and see if she can hold it and consolidate it. I wouldn't mind this going 3. The last match went 3, and it was a third set tie break in Charleston that Pegula won, so I wouldn't be mad at that. By the way, if you guys are listening, engaging, watching on X, also known as Twitter, you can comment as well. So let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you are processing and what's going through your mind during this match. And let's get chatting about it. I love when you guys do that. And if you're watching on YouTube, obviously feel free to do the same thing, because that's what we're all here for. We are tuned in and talking tennis in Canada. I do believe the men's tournament in Montreal is set to begin not that far from now. I'm checking my phone now to see if they've actually started already. I don't believe so, but I think it's going to start in, roughly half an hour, 40 minutes. Andrei Rublev and Alexei Poprin are in the final there. That's a final that I don't think most people would have picked, but I am interested kind of to see who comes out of that one. I'm rooting for Poprin just because I think he's a more exciting player to watch. And yeah, it'll be fun to get a new face holding a Masters 1000 title. Rublev's done that before, and kind of similar to what I was saying about Pegula, if he wins in Montreal, that doesn't really change my perception of him as a player going into another Grand Slam. It just doesn't. I feel like there is baggage and scar tissue and kind of just like ceilings directly pressed on Pegula and Rublev at the moment. Great players. Not to say this to be disrespectful of them, but a WTA 1000 title seems to be where their tennis is most rewarded. Whereas something happens in that 2 weeks at a Grand Slams where it's not rewarded as much, I guess you can say. Oh, crap. Anisimova is doing her best to consolidate that break in the second set. Pegula's pushing to get it back level. It is 15-30. Anisimova serving. Second serve incoming. And she gets that point. There's something that I really like about, not even something, the thing I like about Anisimova, unfortunately, I kind of link it to when she is more back against the wall, but she just starts ripping ground strokes, especially off her backhand. She said recently in an interview that her backhand down the line is her favorite shot to hit, and I can see why. She just has effortless pace on it, and the forehand isn't that far behind either. I just would like to see her do it when she's not down a set and possibly a break. Like, I want to see that from the outset. And I think her style matches up to a lot of other women on the WTA tour very well. So if she can take this form and kind of hold it together for the next 6 to 12 months, I don't see why we can't be looking at Anisimova as a top 20, maybe top 10 player. The points here in Canada are definitely going to help push that along. She has game point to go up 3-1 here, which I think the crowd will really enjoy. She's starting to get a little bit more fired up. We're seeing some fist pumps to her box, which is good to see. Looks like she's not going to give this match away lightly to Pegula. So, yeah, she consolidates that break, and we are up 3-1. I say we, like I'm in Anisimova's camp, but Anisimova, if you're hiring a hype man or Anisimova's team, if you need somebody to like run your social media or be like a creative person in your ear, feel free. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Jake, yeah, she has really easy power. It's easy to kind of put her in the same lane as somebody like Lindsay Davenport, who just had very effortless technique on forehand and backhand and was able to kind of break open a rally with one swing. She does that very well. Sharapova was pretty good at that. Who else do you guys think of when it comes to easy power? Rybakina's in that category as easy power, although she's MIA at the moment. I have no idea where she is in the world or what tennis tournament she's playing next. She does have easy power. And yes, I would be on the Anisimova hype train. Anisimova, she got my attention back in 2018 at Indian Wells. I believe she beat, was that 2018 or 2019? I believe it was 2018. She beat Kvitova at Indian Wells. 2019, she reached the fourth round of the Australian Open, beating Sabalenka en route, which is a really impressive victory. And also in 2019, she beat Simona Halep en route to the semifinals of the French Open. So those late 2010s were pretty good breakthroughs for Anisimova, but like has been, heavily talked about, she's had some personal issues that have kind of made her step away from tennis and take some time off the court. But as evident by that forehand return winner she just hit, she seems to be well and truly on her way back to a really high level in tennis. She said being in the top 100 was actually a end of year goal, but it came really quickly because we're in August, and but when the rankings come out, I'm not sure if the rankings are going to come out Monday, like next Monday, because we're recording this on Monday, August 12th, which is when the final is. Things are a little bit screwed up because of the Olympics, but when the new rankings come out, whenever they officially drop, not just the day by day live rankings, she should be in the top 40, regardless of winning. I think she's going to be somewhere in the 50s, maybe 40s. If she loses the final, if she wins the final, she's going to be somewhere in the 30s. So yeah, either way, she's back inside the top 100 where she wants to be, and I think where she should be. I think when she's playing her best, she definitely has top 100 tennis in her. And Pegula holds to stop a little bit of the momentum Anisimova was building, and it's 2-3. Sean, you asked a really, really good question. Does any ATP players have female coaches? Terry said Hugo Humbert has a female coach. If what's her name? I'd like to look her up because I don't think I knew that. So the women are on a changeover now with Anisimova serving up 3-2 when they get back to the line. Terry says that's his girlfriend. His girlfriend is his coach. Does that ever ex-player? Okay. Tessa Andrian Jaffritromo. I think that's a French player. Tessa Andrian Jaffritromo. That's a tongue twister. But hi, Tessa. Yeah. Say that 2 times or 3 times fast. I think it's interesting how coaching dynamics work in tennis. I know a lot of sports obviously have links to athletes and parents, but for some reason it kind of goes beyond what you would think is a little bit normal in tennis. Like, and sometimes it works, but I'm on the side of the fence that feels like there's like inherent limit to how long a invested person in your life, like your father or mother, can be your professional coach as an athlete. That those lines get real muddy, especially as you mature as a person and as an athlete. Just ask Stefano Tsitsipas. I'm not sure he's ironed that out all the way, but he just publicly got rid of his dad as his coach, allegedly, a couple of days ago after his early loss in Montreal. And it just seems like that's just a very extra tumultuous relationship to kind of carry onto the court when tennis is already so mental and so the margins are so slim. I can imagine it's not easy to like literally be in a point of or a spot of trouble in a tennis match and look over and be not quite sure what dynamic to pull from your coach, because you're looking at 2 very distinct dynamics, coach and parent. Like that can be tough. I'm sure it's worked out for some people, but it's really tricky, almost too tricky for players to do for a prolonged amount of time, especially once you get into your mid-20s and you just want to have natural independence. It's tough. It's tough. Anisimova just hits an ace down the tee to go up 30-15 in her service game here to consolidate and keep that break that she has in the second set. 164 kilometers per hour, not too bad. For some reason, by the way, this is kind of tangential. I thought that Anisimova had moved on from Nike. I could have sworn I saw her kind of rocking some outfits that didn't have the Nike check. I could be wrong. If you guys know, let me know. But in this match, she's definitely, not rocking the swoosh. Pegula seems to be just a hair off. She's missing some returns. Not necessarily wild errors, but Pegula is the kind of player where she's so measured that, you know, just a couple of unforced errors can kind of throw her off. I remember a lot of big matches in Pegula's career so far where she was the favorite and she wasn't playing badly, but a couple of misses would creep into her game. And you wouldn't think, it wouldn't be necessarily so obvious that it would derail her, but eventually it would. My mind goes back to 2023 Australian Open. She played Azarenka in the quarterfinals and just really couldn't keep it together in that match when it got tight. And Azarenka's level was good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't necessarily splendiferous. So yeah, Pegula, if there's any level of improvement that Pegula could kind of work on, it would be that mental fortitude, which I think she has. I just think there's in really, really tight moments and potentially career defining moments, she gets a little wayward and maybe loses some confidence in her abilities, which I think is weird because every other time she's so solid. She barely misses the ball. She just goes about her business. But it's fascinating how tennis kind of puts a hyper lens on your attention to detail and like just your overall game in the biggest moments, you know? And that's what people remember really and truly about sports. In the biggest moments when you come good, people remember it, and people unfortunately remember it when you don't come good in the big moments, and that's kind of what you're known for one way or the other. And unfortunately, Pegula has not been on the positive side of that in her career. Still time to change it, but we'll see. By the way, I just turned my volume up a little bit more to hear the Tennis Channel commentary in the States. I believe that's Monica Puig. Somebody that's listening, please tell me, because I think that's her voice I'm listening to. And I'm actually I'm growing to appreciate her style in the commentary booth. It's not a bad one. It's not a bad one. Well, that's a good get from Anisimova to stay in this point here. Oh, awkward slice that Pegula can't deal with. And we're at 30 all on Pegula's serve. Another big point here. Pegula's going to have a game point, or Anisimova's going to have a break point to really, really have a great grip on this second set. So big point coming here. Jake, I'll answer your question after this game because I think this is a big point to see what direction this match is going to go. Up, and Pegula leaks a forehand error yet again, and Anisimova has a break point to go up 5-2 in the second set. Announcer just said it's code red situation for Pegula as she serves with the break point here. Second serve incoming. Don't look at the scoreboard. It's wrong, guys. It's wrong. And she doubles. Wow. Yeah, she's playing to type, as I was just talking about. Pegula really not coming or not known to come really, really big in the big moment. She doubles on break point in this second set to let Anisimova go up 5-2. So we have a match on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Jake, you asked what is my favorite game style. On the top of my head, I like aggressiveness. I like the ability. I like players who own the ability to end points how they want to end them. I don't really gravitate towards players who are more reactive. I like players who push the issue. It doesn't necessarily mean serve and volley, but it means aggressive, hitting to open corners, taking balls out of the air. That's where I find the most fun in tennis. I do enjoy players who can use the whole court. Like I think about somebody like Sloane Stephens. Although her level ebbs and flows, she has the ability to kind of crack winners specifically on the forehand side, but also extend points and kind of use her legs. So that would kind of be my second tier favorite type of tennis. So my first tier is the aggressive, looking to end the point, Venus Williams, Serena Williams, even somebody like, she wasn't always doing this, but in her prime, somebody like Mauresmo, who knew that in order for her to get the best out of her game. She had to move forward to the net. I enjoy that. I enjoy that. My least favorite players are players like, or I shouldn't say players, game styles are players that play more like Simona Halep or Wozniacki, where like they can stay out there and hit 60 balls no problem, but that's just not what's going to make me run to my television. So hey, that's the beautiful thing about sports and specifically tennis. You get something in different flavors that you can gravitate to or not gravitate to. Beautiful, isn't it? All right, let's see what happens as the surprising twist in this match plays out, as Anisimova now serves to take this into a third set, and she's up 15-love, quickly 15-all after a double fault, but she does have a cushion of this double break if things go sideways in this service game. She has played better. Pegula has just leaked a couple more errors that she wasn't leaking in that first set, and Anisimova's finding great length on her shots now. Really, really great length. So this is good to see. We were talking about her looking a little bit gassed, but it does look like she's found a second win and wants to push it into a third set. Oh wow, the match isn't even an hour old yet. Wow, these are two pretty quick sets. I hadn't realized that. The match is 57 minutes long. Jake, I was always more of a fan of Aga than Halep was. I feel like they're in the like Agnieszka Radwanska, Halep, and Wozniacki are in the same camp of like style of play. I just feel like Radwanska had a little bit more guile and variety in how she went about it. She was obviously very consistent from the ground and wanted to be a counter puncher instead of necessarily calling the shots, but she was able to add a little bit more finesse and court craftsmanship than somebody like Halep and Waz, who were just efficient and excellent ground strokers from the ground, and that's how they won most of their points. So same camp, just different variety. Flying Yogi asks, how is Amanda moving because of the blisters? Hopefully she moves well, because she actually has a break point to defend here, but Pegula leaks another easy return error. Speaking of moving, Anisimova moved out of the way very quickly to get out of that flying return that Pegula went sailing long. But she's moving okay. Yogi, I haven't noticed anything like extremely hampered. But then again, Anisimova's main strength on court isn't movement. And gosh, Pegula is looking a little dejected as it comes up on set point for Anisimova. Pegula dumps a forehand. She swipes her brow. She doesn't look very interested in trying to save this set. Can't necessarily blame her in this hole, but she does do this dejected thing often. Oh, great point to end the second set by Anisimova. Speaking of aggressiveness, she finishes at the net with the traditional punch volley behind Pegula, and we are going 3. The match is a little over an hour long, but we're going to be in the third set, ladies and gentlemen. This is something. Can't say that I would have thought that 30 minutes ago, but my, how things change in tennis. My, how things change. Wow. Swarner was saying my favorite game style is Venus Williams. I have to say that Venus Williams in full flight. If I could put together a montage of how to play tennis efficiently, effectively, and entertainingly, it would be highlights of Venus Williams in her prime and in full flight. Yeah, that's some good stuff right there. I have to start, not that I don't watch ATP, because I know I was alluding to the ATP Masters 1000 final between Alexei Popyrin and Andrei Rublev. Like, I have a really great respect for the ATP tour, but I don't necessarily like the styles of play that they have, for one, aren't necessarily that diverse, and two, I don't think I dissect them and I don't think I dissect them the same way I do WTA game styles, and that could just go back to where I first found tennis. It was women's tennis, not men's tennis. But men's tennis these days, I feel like has higher highs than women's tennis as far as like electric points that go viral. Like that is wonderful, but kind of when you get into the weeds of it all, like if you kind of are just like watching it, it can kind of blend into monotony. All the guys don't play the same. I wouldn't say that, but there is some, because the level is so high, they all play really, really well from the ground. So it's a little bit monotonous from that like 6 to 26 range. They all can play very well, and it's kind of sort of similar. Whereas if I look at like say rank 6 to 26 on the women's tour, I feel like I find more variety. Are they as consistent week in and week out? Probably not. But like game style is more variety, and that's where I find the entertainment, but I also find frustration there too because of the depth on the women's tour. A favorite player or my favorite player could really be putting together great momentum, and then in a really big tournament, because of how much depth there is in the women's field, come up against a player who didn't necessarily look like they were putting all their things together, but because there's depth and they can really actually play on their day, you find yourself in a very heated and highly contested match. So like it's frustrating on that end, but also that's where the entertainment comes from, you know? I don't know. Yeah. Jake, ATP is very big serve and forehand dominant. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. It's definitely heavy, like high RPMs on the forehand, flat backhands. Yeah, like that's kind of what it is, which is not bad. Like again, like I said, because there's such a high level amongst the guys, those points, like my mind goes back to a point that Sinner and Alcaraz played in Miami. I think even last year in Toronto, in the final, I want to say Yannick Sinner and Alex de Minaur played like a 53 or something like that shot rally, which was pretty entertaining and left both of them gassed. But like, you know, indicative of how different things different things are on the WTA tour to me. By the way, Pegula has reset a little bit to open up this third set and held serve to go up 1-love. Now Anisimova is serving love 15. She gave Pegula a pretty loose forehand error there. Let's see what happens in the rest of this game. I would hate for Anisimova, I'm sure she would too, to lose the momentum, but I also wouldn't mind seeing a competitive third set. So let's see how this plays out. Anisimova put in a hole here with another double fault. They're showing the average topspin speeds between forehand and backhand. Anisimova definitely stepped it up. Visually, it was pretty easy to see in the second set as far as pace off forehand and backhands. Let's see if she can sustain that here in the third set. A pretty loose game here in this first set. A double fault, two unforced errors of the forehand, and Pegula has 3 break points in this second game of the third set. That'll kind of undo all the momentum Anisimova had that quickly. Dang, that's so fascinating. 5 minutes ago, it looked like Anisimova was right in this match, and it could quickly go from that to something different. 2 more break points to Pegula that Anisimova is going to try to fend off. Another second serve. Anisimova has, if there's anything that she would want to look back at on this match when it's all said and done, is the first serve percentage. She's definitely given Pegula way too many second serves to look at. And she doubles again. 2 doubles, 2 unforced errors in a game will definitely feel like Christmas for the person across the net. And that's what Pegula's feeling right now as she goes up 2-love very quickly in this second set. All the momentum now with Pegula. She's steadied herself. And as I was saying, that she doesn't really bring her best in the biggest moments. She has steadied herself and has been helped out from some errors on Anisimova's racket. By the way, if you guys are looking for more women's tennis throughout the week and you are in the States and or have a Tennis Channel subscription, actually, I pause when I would say this. I do, what I'm about to plug, I'm not associated with them in any way. I just want you guys to be as tuned in tennis as you can. No pun intended. There's a free network on a bunch of different platforms called T2, kind of like how we have ESPN and ESPN2. Tennis Channel has Tennis Channel and now T2. But the fun thing is on T2, you don't have to have a cable subscription. You can watch it for free if you have Amazon Prime, if you have YouTube TV, if you have Fubo TV, also Samsung TV Plus. If you have a Samsung Smart TV, there's like a whole setup that you can just watch television for free for having that smart television. And one of the channels is T2. And I say all this about T2 because specifically on Tuesdays, tomorrow, they have what has been introduced this season as a Women's Day every Tuesday. So on that channel exclusively, it's going to be only women's tennis matches all hours of the day, which I think is really, really cool. And it's on a network where you don't have to pay another additional service or like streaming fee. If you have a Samsung Smart TV, it's available to you. If you have YouTube TV, it's there. If you have Fubo TV, Amazon, a bunch of different platforms have T2. So check it out and get your women's tennis fix every Tuesday on Women's Day. They're not paying me for that, by the way. I wish they were, but I do appreciate the initiative, so I wanted to share it with you guys if you didn't know. Anisimova showing some spurts of life here with the backhand winner down the line. Pegula still has game point at 40-30. This is very interesting that I thought that just came to mind because I realized that Anisimova made a racket switch, I want to say at the beginning of the 2022 season. If you guys remember that brief stint where Anisimova was actually being coached by Darren Cahill and then briefly went to Yannick Sinner, and that's where he's been for a while. But I think she ushered in 2022 with a racket switch, and she switched from Babolat to Wilson. As far as I've seen Pegula, she's always played with the Yannick's frame. I'm wondering if you guys could see her playing with anything else. Or like, have you guys ever ventured into the thought of like your favorite tennis player or a tennis player that you like watching? Could they be more effective or have a better career or just be, or maybe kind of, you know, fill in holes in their game if they switched rackets? I've always thought that's one of the more fascinating things about tennis is just how small the margins are in terms of like technology and gear, because I can think of a long list of players who have like publicly said that switching to this racket or this string in their racket has yielded good results for them. So I'm interested to see if that would help Pegula and maybe like get that extra 1 or 2% past her ceiling of a Grand Slam quarterfinal or not. Just something that came to mind. Jake asked, will you be watching Poprin and Rublev? I don't believe I'll be doing a live stream here on YouTube, but I'll keep my eye on it. I can't say that I find watching Rublev matches that entertaining. Can't necessarily fall down that lane, but you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens in that matchup because that's a really big opportunity for Poprin, and I want to see how he plays. It's a really, really big game. No name commenter, thanks for the love. I appreciate it. Thanks for engaging in the coverage. I really, really appreciate it. Well, Anisimova's here serving at love 3 after winning the second set, but quickly going down a break in this third set. She needs to stop the run of games from Pegula here, or it's going to look very unlikely that she wins this third set. Really good opening point here, backhand to backhand rally. Oh, Anisimova with a really, really deep backhand that I thought was going out, but Pegula managed to get it back. Great cross-court angle from Pegula off the forehand, and she wins this opening point. That's one of the best points of the match. There was some depth. There were some angles. Anisimova opened up the angles first, and Pegula said, if you can do that, I can do this. Wow. Wow. Oh, and another return winner off the forehand from Pegula. Yeah, she's found the second gear, I think. Anisimova looks a bit rattled, and Pegula looks like she's ready to be out there for another 2 hours if she needs to be. Love 30, Anisimova serve. Big points here coming up. Second serve coming in yet again for Anisimova. Looks like she's decelerating on that first serve. It might be fatigue. It might be frustration. And she double faults again. Wow. I'm interested to see how many doubles she has in this match. Let me see if I can look up the stats really quickly. Oh, that's the third double fault of the final set. So that means she has more than 3, I would imagine. She has 8 altogether in this match. Definitely not the kind of free points you want to be giving to Pegula. And she's unraveled. Pegula breaks at love, and she's up 4 love in this final set. Pretty impressive reset from Jessica Pegula, I have to say. I didn't think that she'd rebound so quickly after kind of getting hit off the court in that second set, but she tightened up in a good way. She removed some errors, and Anisimova has kind of capitulated just a little bit. She's spraying the ball and not finding the court. It could be fatigue or it could be frustration, who knows, but it looks like Pegula has set herself up to be a 2-time Canadian Open champion. No-name commenter asked a really, really good question. Do you think Pegula is going to qualify for the WTA finals this year? It's August, and she's like ranked 15th in the race. Honestly, I think she would be one of those players that with a good US Open and post-US Open push could qualify. Mind you, she is the defending finalist at the WTA finals, and it was played in that horrific condition of Cancun last year. She made the final and lost to Iga, but Pegula is 20 in the singles race, so there's definitely a lot of ground to be made up, but she's going to put a pretty good indent with this run in Canada. And if she does well at the US Open and post US Open in a couple of the 500s and 1000s there, it's going to take a lot of tennis, but I think she can do it. I think she can do it. I mean, she's made the WTA finals, I believe, every year for I don't know if she made it in 2021. 2021, they played in Guadalajara, and I can't remember if she qualified for that. I just know Muguruza won it. But I know she qualified in 2022, and I know she qualified in 2023, obviously, because she got to the final. But yeah, if she plays consistently for the next 6 weeks or so, I can see that number jumping from 20 to in contention for the top 8. I can see it. Yeah, Jake. Pegula did keep her level, even though her level did dip. It was clear that her level dipped right in time for Anisimova to kind of start opening up her shoulders and hitting more aggressively. Her level did dip, but that's the thing that makes her a really solid player and a hard player to beat, is even when her level dips, she finds ways to kind of rectify it and at least make her opponent continue the high level. You know, sometimes she does do the self-deprecating thing and kind of shrugs her shoulders. She does do that. I can't tell the whole story without including that. But week in, week out, she does a pretty good job of resetting and beating the players that she should beat, even amidst a dip in her play. And now she's up 5 love. It looks like most of the fingers on both of her hands are on this trophy. It's just a matter of closing out the match and lifting the trophy. So she's up 5-love. Anisimova has definitely looked like she's hit a wall in this match. The wall might be her energy level, or the wall might be named Jessica Pegula. Who knows? Yeah, no name. The prize money difference for the men and women in Cincinnati is quite wild, especially considering at the other American hard court 1000 tournaments, i.e. Indian Wells and Miami, prize money is equal across the board. So I'm not quite sure how Cincinnati is able to kind of get out of the conversation of not offering equal prize money. I'm sure it's a lovely event. The players talk about it really, really well. They actually just last year petition to make the tournament stay there instead of going to like Charlotte. So there's clearly a lane for the tournament, but I do think that's one sour note is seeing the men and women get paid so much more differently. And in this case, for the same amount of work, they're playing 3 sets for the whole week and a half that the tournament's happening. They're sharing the same venues. They're playing on the same courts. It shouldn't be that much of a difference between how much the men's champions and singles get and how much the women champions and singles get, regardless of who wins. It could be the 45th best woman, and it could be the number 1 ranked man. They both won the same amount of matches in 3 sets, so they should be getting paid the same, in my opinion. Aw. It looks like Anisimova is crying here. She shouldn't really. I mean, I know in the microcosm, in like the micro sense here, it probably is really disappointing to potentially get bageled in this 3rd set of your first final in a while. But she made this final, beating the likes of Sabalenka and Navarro, who both have been playing well at different parts of this season. That's something to be respected for. And she's already met her year-end goal by getting back into the top 100. So if I was her coach, I'd be saying stuff like that as she walked off the court and try to keep things in perspective. I'm sure she's going to try to make one last push to get on the board in the 2nd set, but you can tell she's quite emotional and trying to keep it together. By the way, as you can see on the little ticker or caption here, we are on Instagram. Go over and give Talking Tennis TT a follow on Instagram. And while you're on that app, make sure to follow me, Miles David, at Tuned Into Tennis. I'd appreciate that. Instagram, for whatever reason, kind of gets lost in the sauce. I love Instagram, but posting on Instagram, for whatever reason, these days seems to take a lot more. It takes a lot more of something. Whereas posting on Twitter and like live streaming and talking to you guys on YouTube feels a lot more effortless and natural and still engaging. Whereas with Instagram, you have to worry about things being engaging for the algorithm and all that kind of stuff, which kind of takes the fun away from just purely engaging with people who want to talk tennis. So if you're kind of like, where's Miles been on Instagram? That's kind of why. Instagram likes things to be pretty, and sport and tennis is not always pretty. So there's that. Anisimova does have a game point to get on the board in this 3rd set, though. So she's pushing past some tears and emotions to make it, I guess, a little bit more respectable in this 3rd set. Great drop shot, though, from Pegula that Anisimova couldn't track down to get us back to deuce. You guys, is it because I've been talking this entire hour, or maybe that's probably what it is? But the game clock is showing that this match has only been an hour and 20 minutes. That is crazy. In my mind, it's been much longer than that. I wasn't thinking like 3 hours, but I wasn't thinking less than an hour and a half either for a 3-set match. You know? Jake, thanks for tapping in with us. We always appreciate it. I always love seeing your name here. And the questions and comments that you engage with us with are always fun. Game clock is accurate. It's not even an hour and a half match yet. I'm not sure if I've seen a complete still of the Jessica Pegula tattoo. Actually, Google will tell me. I actually, now that I've put Pegula and tattoo in the same sentence in my mind, I think she has a similar tattoo in a similar place to where Serena Williams has a tattoo. Bet you didn't think that would be a thing. Let's see. This is her left shoulder. It's on her, it's lower left shoulder, really low left shoulder, and it looks like some words, but I can't tell what the words are. It looks like they are in a it might be English, but I guess might be in a script that's not the easiest to read. Here, there's something there. Anisimova gets on the board. 6-1 looks a lot better than 6-love, I think. It could be Korean. It could be a Korean Soki. It really could. She does have some South Korean roots, I believe. I think her mom was born in South Korea. So Asian culture is close to her. But I can't see more. I'm Googling on my phone right now. Oh, wait, this might be a better picture. Hold on. Oh, this is a picture from Pegula and Coco Gauff playing doubles. Maybe it's Latin. I don't know. It doesn't look Korean. I think the first two letters are A and T. I'm not sure. We'll leave that for Unsolved Mysteries. There's a tennis channel for Unsolved Mysteries, I think. If not, I'll create it. Unsolved Tennis Mysteries with Miles David. What is the meaning of Jessica Pegula's tattoo? I think if it was a player that had a tattoo that said please subscribe, it would be Kasakina. Because I've actually reinvigorated myself with Kasakina's YouTube vlog. I kind of forgot about it for a while, but I sat through I think her DC vlog with her and her partner, and it was pretty good. She does better content than the actual Women's Tennis Association right now. But I do have to say, I've seen some hiring that the WTA has done over the past couple of months, and I guess an effort to really change their digital platform and make things a lot more efficient and engaging. So we'll see what happens going forward. But I also have to be honest and say that the past couple of years, the WTA hasn't really been, from an association standpoint, not the tennis, from an association standpoint, it hasn't necessarily been the most well-run and entertaining organization in the world. So hopefully that gets better. What did get better, though, in this match is Pegula. She's found a way to extend points, zap the energy out of Anisimova, and zap her hopes. And she looking at match points, championship points, for her second consecutive Canadian Open title, this time in Toronto. It's time for her to close this match out, and let's see what she does. Championship points for Jessica Pegula to lift her second title in Canada over Amanda Anisimova. Let's watch this point through. First serve long from Jessica Pegula. Let's see what she throws in for a second. Second serve in the middle of the box. Anisimova takes a big cut, has a short return, and puts away that mid-court ball on the backhand. One championship point erased. One more to come up for Miss Jessica Pegula. Pegula looks focused. Anisimova looks like she's trying to battle through here. First serve put into play by Pegula. Deep return from Anisimova. Oh, another deep forehand from Anisimova that Pegula moonballs back. Anisimova with another angled forehand that Pegula floats back into the court. Pegula tries to get another forehand back, but that one just goes wide. 2 championship points saved for Amanda Anisimova. That one was very, very tricky. I think Anisimova thought she was out of it for a second. But we're back at deuce. Crazier things have happened, I think. Second serve incoming for Jessica Pegula here at deuce. Let's see what happens. Oh, Anisimova took a big cut at that second serve that was just waiting to be hit from Pegula. It looked deep. There was an awkward call of long by the chair umpire. It looks like Anisimova's trying to challenge, but I think they're using electronic line calling. Very awkward situation here as we try to figure out who this point goes to. It looks like everybody kind of agrees Anisimova's return was clearly out, and now it looks like they're showing visual and digital confirmation of that. So now it's officially advantage Pegula. Third championship point for Pegula. Another second serve incoming. Anisimova steps in. Let's see what she does with it. Pegula floats it in. Anisimova takes a cut on the backhand. Is dictating from the middle of the court. Pegula is... Oh, that was out too? Wow. Anisimova tried to claw back there, but the forehand finally goes long. Pegula clenches both of her fists, looks to her camp, yells a big come on, and she is the champion of the Canadian Open for the second time in a row. Congratulations to Miss Jessica Pegula of the United States. She is now the first woman to win back-to-back Canadian titles since Martina Hingis in 1999 and 2000. So that is some good company to be in, I think. I think that sets her up very nicely for a good run at the U.S. Open, considering that she hasn't been able to put together that many matches in a row this year. Her Grand Slam performances have been subpar for her standards. She lost early in Australia. She lost early at Wimbledon, didn't play the French Open, and she has still found time to win a 1,000 level title this year. In addition to the 500 she won in Berlin a couple of weeks back before Wimbledon. So yeah, a good day to be Pegula, a good day to be a Jessica Pegula fan. I think a pretty good day to be a tennis fan altogether, because not only did Pegula win today, I think tennis wins by seeing a resurgence from Amanda Anisimova, former number 21 in the world, really, really great prodigy. She's clearly putting together better tennis, as evident by her run this week to the final and some good tennis she played last week in DC. So it's nice to see her name back in contention with some of the best moments in women's tennis, but the day belongs to Jessica Pegula. She's won 17 of her 19 matches here. It's tied for second most, I believe. Everett and Sellis had 18 wins in their first 19 matches here. And now this is Jessica Pegula's third career WTA 1000 title, sixth title overall, which I feel like that's great, because I specifically remember not that long ago, it felt like Pegula was stuck at that one WTA title to her name for quite a while, and here we are, and she has 6. So I think that is definitely something to hang your hat on for Miss Jessica Pegula. If you're a fan, I'm sure you're happy with this result. And yeah, she does it. That's pretty cool. There's an interesting juxtaposition here with the camera. It literally shows Pegula clapping her hands, waving to the audience in celebration, and right behind her, you can see Amanda Anisimova crashing out her racket in frustration, which is understandable. She had her opportunities in that match, but I think, you know, a long week of tennis and a tough opponent made it hard to get over the edge for her. But all in all, a good match to watch. Thank you guys I thank you guys a lot for engaging with us, engaging with me. I haven't rode solo on YouTube in quite a while, so it was good to do that. Thank you guys for commenting and engaging and asking questions and all that fun stuff. I really, really appreciate when you guys do that. Again, before we sign off, if you aren't subscribed to Talking Tennis here, this YouTube channel, make sure you've subscribed and watch that number below me go up. We're dangerously close to 10K. Would appreciate your support, and share this video with other tennis fans if you haven't before. That definitely expands the reach of our channel. And also, if you want to follow me on socials, I'm Miles David. You can follow me at all socials at Tuned Into Tennis for colorful tennis analysis and fun conversation. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, make sure to engage with Talking Tennis and Tuned Into Tennis. We're both huge tennis fans, and I appreciate the other tennis fans that stick along on this ride with us. So without further ado, I'm going to sign out and begin recuperating from a fun weekend in New Orleans. So thanks, guys. Talk to you soon. Stay safe and continue to watch tennis. Take care.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
I want one more thing from you, Francisca. Can you look at the camera, and I want you to say, I am Francisco Jorge, and I am a friend of the show. Can you try it?
I am Francisca Jorge, and I'm a friend. I'm a wait.
Go. It's okay.
I'm Francisca Jorge, and I'm a fan of the show.
One more time. Can you say, I'm a friend of the show?
Friend.
Like amigo.
Friend.
A friend. So, because we joke, we have players come on all the time. They have no idea, but after they've been on, we say, oh, Yelena Ostapenko is a friend of the show. She has no idea. But so if we get you to say, I am Francisca Jorge, or how you say your name, and
I am Francisca Jorge, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect. Thanks, Francisca. Just want you to do me one more thing. I want you to hold the microphone. I want you to look in the... Don't be nervous. I mean, listen, you've just beaten Yelena Ostapenko.
I'm not nervous.
No, you shouldn't be. If you can beat Ostapenko twice in one day, you can do this for sure. I want you to look at the camera and just say, hi, my name is, say your name, and then say, and I'm a friend of the show.
Friend of the show?
Yeah?
Okay. Hi, my name is Susan, and I'm a friend of the show.
Say your whole name for me. That's the only thing I want.
Sorry.
Surname too. No, you're doing great.
You're
doing
cutting,
great.
huh?
Yeah, I'll cut it up. Don't worry. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Thank you very much, Susan.
You're welcome.
Good luck for the rest of the tournament. And I will tag you on Instagram, and you can reject. I do have one more tiny thing, which is I want you to look into the camera.
Yeah.
I want you to say your name.
Yes.
And I want you to say, I am a friend of the show.
I'm a friend of the show. Okay.
Perfect, yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.